And we realized that that was part of the grief process, and we had to stand by as much as we wanted to help each other, knew we couldn't, because for him to come down and say, here, wipe your nose and let's go out to eat, let's just move on, that wasn't what I needed. I needed to cry till I couldn't cry anymore, and so we learned that, and we really do try to help other couples to, and they seem to, nod their heads and go, yeah, because I want to help her. It's like, I know you want to help her, but this is a way of helping her or him, so that's one thing I think made a big difference in how we maintained and, our marriage thrived, and we go on together to do these things together with couples, and we're not the people who are afraid to approach someone who's just lost a child. We go towards them, never away from them. So yeah.
Right. And that's one of the things, because I think it's so hard for couples to understand that each person can grieve their own way, and there's not a right way to do it. It's just the way that you're going through it. That is the right way to do it, however it's coming up for you.
Yeah. And just to let alone that you're talking men and women here, and and even to not judge each other's way they do it. I think I've heard that a lot. Well, I don't think he's hurting like I am. He seems to be. It's like, yeah, but you don't know, and I think we put on, especially men, to be strong. They're even told, you got to be strong for her. It's like, why? What about me then? And that's it. Oh, I'm sorry. I got a frog in my throat. Excuse me. I'll just get a glass of water. I'll quit. Okay. Anyway, yeah, because, and we talk about the fact that men, for a lot of men, if they grew up being convinced that big boys don't cry, this whole emotional piece of grief can be really, really hard for guys to do.
Absolutely. Yes. And it's so freeing to be able to hear from somebody else that you get to cry and you get to do it in the way that feels right for you.
Yeah.
I know we went to Faith Lodge in Wisconsin. Are you familiar?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we've been there. What a beautiful place. Yeah.
It's such a beautiful place. And this was, I think, maybe not a year, maybe 9 months after Dara's passing. And I was just so taken aback, because there was a man, right? Because you're just in shock. You're still, you stay in shock for that first year for sure.
You're just numb. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I just remember him saying, I just want this done. I just want it done. I don't want to feel like this anymore. And I just want to be done. And I thought, like, oh my gosh, right. Just, it never even occurred to me to feel like that. All of these different emotions and the different, just trying to find your footing, trying to find a way to be present here on this earth, and not having to raise young ones on top of that. Oh my goodness, how difficult that would be.
Yeah.
So
I've heard from. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go right ahead.
Well, I've heard also, from when I encounter people who say, yeah, my little brother died when I was 15, and I often say, and how was that for you? And then what did you see with your mom and dad? And sadly, more than once or twice, I've heard them say, I lost my brother, but I lost my mom too. Yeah. Mom was never the same. I lost my mom when he died. It's like, it just makes me want to cry when I hear that. It's like, oh, and then there's that, you think of that poor mom and all the guilt that she put on herself because she knew she couldn't mother her other children. And so we do what we can, right, to keep this from being a spiral downward that they can't find their way out of.
Right. Yes, it's so horribly painful to lose two people when one person passes. Yet to lose two people, and even three. The dad also, the mom and Oh my goodness. Now I know that we are going to start running out of time here, and I have like this list of questions that I want to ask you, Donna. And so, of course, I know we've just touched the surface of conversation. And so I'm wondering would you be willing to come back next week and continue this conversation with me so we can share with the listeners more on your journey and then more about your books and the work that you do to help other people navigate and manage through their grief of losing a loved one.
Certainly. I'd love to do that.
Awesome. I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Mm-hmm. So in the meantime, I always share with people with the listeners, how they can contact you. But I also like to make sure that everybody knows it's in the show notes. So if you're driving, there's no need to worry. But Donna's website is, I just lost it. It's Unfinished by Design, unfinishedbydesign.com. And then she's also on Facebook and Instagram at Unfinished by Design. And I totally love that name. I love that name. So any information that you would like to know about Donna, I know she does speaking. And I'm assuming that, it's COVID. So speaking is probably a little bit different right now, but virtual speaking, I'm assuming you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I do.
So virtual speaking. Okay. And she has on her website the information to be able to contact her about the different speaking services that she does. And then we will, of course, touch into that a little bit more when we come back next week and pick up this conversation. So all of Donna's information will be in the show notes. So you'll be able to, and her books. So you'll be able to get all of that information there. So Donna, thank you so much for being with me today and being so open and honest about the loss of your son. And I do want to know a little bit more about Oleg. We have lots to talk about. And I'm just with my hands on my heart and just holding you and loving you and thanking you so much for being able to share that and being here with us so other people can hang on to somebody else's hope and belief that they can walk through this and, be able to continue living their life and have a beautiful life and carry the person that we lost, carry them right along with us as we continue living our lives to the fullest. Thank you so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Absolutely. And to the listeners, thank you all so much. And we will be back next week to go on with part 2 with Donna Mathiowetz. Bye-bye for now.
Thank you for spending time with us today. Please go to nadahogan.com for show notes and other information you can use right away. If you like what you heard here, please subscribe to our show and don't forget to rate and review right there on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you get your shows. And don't forget to tell your friends about it. We'll see you next week.